You think you totally get time, right? You've got your little watch ticking away. You feel yourself getting older every birthday. You can clearly remember yesterday and you're already planning tomorrow. Time feels so obvious, like the most normal thing ever. But guess what? That's not real time at all. That's just a feeling, a sneaky little trick your brain pulls on you. Most people walk around with this pretty picture in their heads. That time is a river. They imagine it flowing, carrying them from the past through today and into tomorrow. They swear it moves. But here's the funny part about that gorgeous picture. If time is a river, how fast is it flowing? 1 second per second? That's silly. That's like saying a table is 1 table long. It doesn't actually tell you anything real. The truth is way weirder, way more like a machine, and honestly way less cute than a gentle stream. Time doesn't flow. Time doesn't push you anywhere. And if you think you have a solid grip on time just because you can count seconds in your head, oh boy, you're about to get a big surprise. Let's peek inside your brain because that's where all the mix-up starts. You think your inside clock is super trustworthy. Nope, it's a total mess of different tricks. Try this little game. Close your eyes and count to 60 seconds in your head. Just 1, 2, 3, go. You think you're measuring real time, but really you're just running your own private little program. Some kids hear an actual voice in their head saying 1, 2, 3. If someone talks to them right then, poof, they lose count. The whole thing jams. But other kids, and this is the cool part, don't hear any voice at all. They see pictures. They see a tape measure rolling past. Click, click, click. Those kids can read a comic book or sort their toys while the tape keeps clicking perfectly. But the kids who use the voice can't read even one word without losing their count. This shows us something huge. What you feel as time passing is just something your brain makes up, a little pattern game. It's different for every single person. It is not the same for everyone. It's basically a brain daydream. So when real physics talks about the universe, we have to toss your brain's version out the window. We stop talking about feelings and start talking about what time actually is. In science, we have to be super practical. We don't ask, what is time deep down? Because that's for grown-ups arguing over coffee. We ask, how do we measure it? And the answer is almost too simple. Time is just a way to put events in order. That's all. It's like labels. Imagine you line up playing cards in a row. You can say the jack comes before the queen, and the king comes after. The cards aren't moving. The table isn't flowing. The order is just how they're laid out. Time is the table. Events are the cards. When we say time passes, we're just reading the cards left to right. This leads to the biggest mistake everybody makes. You think time is a giant empty box that everything happens inside, and there's a clock on the wall, ticking even if the box is completely empty. You think if we took away all the stars, planets, atoms, and light, the clock would still go tick, tick, tick. Nope, totally wrong. That old idea is dead. Time is not a background stage. Time is just a way to measure change. If nothing in the whole universe changes, no wiggling atoms, no moving light, no energy shifting, then time stops. It doesn't mean anything anymore. You can't even define 1 second without something physical happening to mark it. A swinging pendulum, a buzzing crystal, a cesium atom jumping back and forth. Time is not separate from the stuff in the Universe. Time is part of the stuff. Here's where your feelings fight back. You say, but time makes me get older. Time makes milk go bad. Nope, it really doesn't. That's just the way we talk. Time isn't a person with hands. It doesn't open the fridge and spoil your milk. Tiny germs and chemical changes do that. Time is just the notebook we use to write down how fast those changes happen. Saying, time did it, is like saying, inches built the house, inches didn't. Hammer any nails, carpenters did. Inches just tell you where the walls go. Time is the ruler, not the builder. Let's keep going with the ruler idea because this is where it gets super wild. If time is just a ruler we use to measure the distance between things that happen, what if the ruler itself can stretch and bend? This isn't made up stuff. This is real. We can measure it. We used to think 1 second is 1 second everywhere in the universe. A clock on Earth and a clock on Mars would tick exactly together. Feels totally normal, right? Wrong. Clocks actually tick at different speeds, depending on where they are and how fast they're moving. This isn't because the clock is broken. This is how the universe really works. Imagine you're driving a toy car on a giant piece of paper. You can go straight north as fast as you can, or you can turn and go northeast. When you go northeast, some of your speed goes north, and some goes east, so you're not going north as fast anymore. Now swap north for time and east for space. This is relativity in a nutshell. You are always moving through the universe at one exact speed, but that speed gets split between moving through space and moving through time. If you sit super still in your chair, 100% of your motion is going into time. You're zooming into the future at full speed, 1 second per second. But the second you stand up and run, or hop in a rocket, some of your motion goes into space, so you have to go slower through time. Your clock literally slows down. You age slower. You're not breaking anything, you're just turning the steering wheel. If you could go as fast as light, the speed limit of the universe, you'd use 100% of your motion on space and 0% on time. For a little light beam, time doesn't move at all. It is born and dies in the exact same instant from its point of view. The whole universe looks frozen. Remember those kids counting in their heads? Some see a tape measure, some hear a voice. They're all trying to force a super straight line onto a universe that's actually super bendy. We built these counting tricks to survive, to know when the tiger is coming or when the berries are ripe. We evolved to notice how long, but we never evolved to really understand time itself. Our brains are fast, not correct. We care about right now because that's where lunch is. But in real physics, now is super slippery. If we're standing next to each other, our now is basically the same. But if you fly 1,000,000 light years away and start walking away from me, your now cuts through the universe at a different angle. Something you call happening right now might be in my tomorrow. There is no big blanket now that covers the whole universe. The universe is one giant four-dimensional loaf of bread, and how you slice it depends on how fast you're moving. This feels wrong, like I'm saying the sky is green. But that's because you're trying to force the universe to speak your baby language. You're trying to count socks when you should be measuring light beams. When you let go of your old picture of time and start treating it like a real dimension of space that can stretch, suddenly all the math works and the universe makes sense. We're not finished yet because even if we accept Time is a bendy dimension, there's an even deeper question hiding. We talked about measuring time and the arrow of mess, but we haven't talked about the very first moment. If time is just ordering changes inside the universe, what happens when you run the movie all the way backward to the very first frame? The universe gets smaller, denser, hotter, until the rules themselves melt. All our clocks, atoms, planets, light live inside the universe. But if the universe started with a bang, does it even make sense to ask, what happened before? This is the big test. If time is just the order of events inside the universe, then before the universe might be as silly as asking, what's north of the North Pole? It sounds like a real question, but it's not. There might be no time before time started. Yet we still have that itchy feeling inside, that little voice counting 1, 2, 3, begging for a forever backstory. It's hard to accept that the tape measure just starts. We are tiny, limited creatures made of meat and sparks trying to understand something huge with tools that weren't built for it. It's amazing we get anything right. Remember the kids with the tape measure versus the voice? They use different brain wires. Physics does the same. We keep upgrading from the old voice counting rules to the new visual tape measure rules that can handle the crazy stuff. Upgrading hurts because we have to throw away pretty ideas like the river. But here's the coolest part. Even though your feelings about time are wrong, even though your inside clock is a cheap trick, and even though real time bends and slows down, your tricks still work. You can still boil an egg and meet your friend at 2 o'clock. The weird stuff is hidden under the hood. You don't need to know how the engine works to drive the car. But isn't it way more fun to peek under the hood and see the real magic? That counting difference isn't just a party trick. It shows the scary gap between people. When we talk about big stuff like time or love, we think we're speaking the same language. We nod and say, I get it. But inside our heads we're running totally different movies. I say 1 minute and see a clock face. You hear a voice counting 60 times. We both get the right answer, so we think we agree, but our brains are doing completely different dances. This is why common sense is so fragile. It's just the pictures you grew up with. If your picture is a tape measure, you'll struggle when time bends. If your picture is a voice, you'll struggle when time turns into space. When we try to teach you the real weird stuff, quantum vacuum, or curved spacetime, we're not just giving new facts. We're asking you to delete your whole operating system, throw away the tape, silence the voice. That's why it feels so hard. Your brain is fighting back because you're not just learning. You're translating against everything your biology ever taught you.